Good afternoon. I'm Mingling from UNC Chapel Hill. It is with a great pleasure that I'm introducing Professor Zexiang Li today, who will be giving the keynote on For Your Eyes Only, UEA and DJI. So I'd like to say, a few personal words about Zexiang. Actually, Zexiang and I graduated from the same university. With both of us got our PhD from UC Berkeley. But there is a lot more I didn't know about Zexiang until very recently. I see him everywhere in the press. So Zexiang actually received many degrees beyond just the PhD from Berkeley. He received his BS degree in EE and economics from CMU. He has a master in mathematics and EECS, as well as PhD in EECS from Berkeley. He had worked at many places, including Alcor, CMU, MIT, AI Labs. He was assistant professor at NYU in her early career, but then later on, he decided to join the ECE department at HKUST, where he have co-founded the Automation Technology Center. Now, Zexiang actually also, in addition to many degrees, he also received many awards, including the Alco Foundation Fellowship, Anthony Fellowship from University Scholarship from CMU, as well as EI Jury Award from UC Berkeley, which is a recognition of his excellence in PhD dissertations. He became IEEE Fellow in 2008, and he was also Associate Editor for IEEE-RAS.ICRA. He was also the General Chair for ICRA 2011. And if you think that he hasn't done enough, there are more. Zexiang's research interests includes multi-finger robotic hand, payload manipulator, workpiece localizations, inspection motion control, precision assembly, UAV recently, and it goes on and on. I don't know what he hasn't done yet. He's the author of more than hundreds of journal and conference paper, but more importantly, he was the author of 2 books. Actually, one of them I read when I was still a graduate student before I finished. What's most impressive is the list of a company he has co-founded. Zexiang has co-founded several companies with his colleague and students from the Automation Technology Center, including the Google Technology, DJI, which, by the way, made the huge news in the press recently, a $10 billion acquisition. QKM Technology, ePropulsion. He recently also co-founded Songshan Lake Robotics Startup Center, as well as a Clean Water Bay Venture Capital for robotics startup. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Zexiang tell us what he has been up to these days with DJI.
Thanks, Ming, for the nice introduction. Okay, when I was invited to give a talk here today, I asked, what should I talk about? And they said, anything except ICRA papers. So then I looked at some of the ICRA papers, and they are mostly authored by professors and the PhD students, because professors need to get tenure and get promoted. PhD students need to graduate and get tenure jobs. So today I decided to tell you a story of an undergraduate student, his final year project that led to the creation of a drone company by the name DJI. Okay. So I will first give you a little bit of my exposure to UAV research. And okay, so as Min just explained, I was one of the first 2 undergraduate students to be sent to study in the US after China opened up in 1979. And of course, for me, it was like landed in another planet, okay? And before we come, we were told to maintain a clear borderline between capitalist and the communist. because they said, you are there just to learn science and the technology. You should not be infected by the rotten capitalist. But of course, my Berlin Wall was quickly fall apart. And the event that contributed to this was my roommate, American boy, who took me to see my first American movie, a James Bond movie, For Your Eyes Only. And of course, I was struck, okay? Not just by the beautiful Bond girls, but also by the variety of technologies that are employed to see, to move, to act, kill, okay? So in today's sense, is the interconnection of sensing, planning, and the control. And I decided to change my major from material science to ECE, because at that time, the Robotics Institute was just established. And that is a picture of me in the lab with Mark Raybert as a summer intern student. And that picture is my roommate, Kevin Dowling, who plotted that event. I thought that was a capitalist propaganda, okay? And of course, we become best friends for, until today. And my first encounter of UAV perhaps dates back when I was around 4 or 5 years old. And there was a whole national celebration in China for the PLA to shoot down a U-2 high-altitude plane. And in Chinese, that reads, U.S. made and the Taiwan mafia launched U-2 bomb in the airplane was shot down by the PLA. And Lin Biao is the commander-in-chief of PLA, issued an order to reward the soldiers for did that. But ironically, later on, he betrayed Chairman Mao, and his plane was crashed on the way to the Soviet Union. And shortly after that event, Cultural Revolution in China took place. My whole family was sent to the countryside, and there for 7 years. So the clock, turning forward, and in 1992, around that time, I was about to return to Hong Kong, starting my new, position. So I went to give a talk at the CMU Robotics Institute on non-holonomic motion planning. So I tried to explain to Matt Mason that leap bracket motion is useful for autonomous parking. But of course, autonomous driving was not even a concept at that time. So I had a chance to visit Takeo's lab, okay? And of course, Takeo is a legend, right? He ran a big group, worked 24 hours, and the UAV research for me is just to be ignored. But anyway, Takeo was the pioneer with Asada and direct drive robots. And many years later, I built a couple of direct drive robots in my own lab. And then many years later, the founder of DJI applied direct drive technology to build the best, probably gimbals for the drones, okay, which changed the way that post-processing of aerial film is done, okay, that eliminated completely the need for doing that. But anyway, so that was a small event that I had ignored. Later that I heard Professor Shankar Sastry, my former PhD advisor, was doing UAV research. I know Shankar was powerful, big, and strong. He could get millions of dollars to build a fleet of UAV. So I said, that is not for me, okay. And later that I heard that Vijay Kumar was also working on drones. I know that Vijay is one of the best robotics researcher of my age, But, he is from the GRASP lab, and his budget is, 4 or 5 times bigger than me. So I could not do probably anything on this. So before the DJI story really happened, there was a little event. I happened to teach a course on robot design, okay? So students will have to engage in a competition called the Robocon. This, for Asian Pacific countries, is like the DAPA Grand Challenge, or the first competition in the US. And the students from different background, different age group, they work together for 8 months to build several generations of robots to engage in a competition, okay? And to speed up the prototyping process, I ask the students, go to Shenzhen, which is only 50 minutes away, and you buy components, you make PCB, you make the mechanical components all in one day. Okay, otherwise you have to spend weeks, if not a month, to get a prototype done. So the students went and they also learned the manufacturing ecosystem of the Shenzhen area. Okay. So a student from that class, Frank Wang, he took the course twice. Okay. And for his final year project, he said, "Professor, I want to do something different. Okay, I want to build an autopilot for a helicopter." Okay, I didn't know that that was actually a UAV research. Otherwise, I would have discouraged him to do that. I said that I can only offer you a couple $1,000 US. He said, "It's okay. This is all I need." So he built a very sloppy autopilot for the drone, and be able to demonstrate the working of that autopilot. So during his MPhil study, he went to Shenzhen to set up a little company called DJI. Okay, that is the place. And he thought he could sell perhaps a dozen of the autopilot to hobbyists in the community. So that was the birth of DJI. And later I said, "Oh, Frank, I really want to make sure your autopilot function okay, because I'm a mountain climber." So I said, every summer I go to Tibet, and the mountain I enjoy the most is Mount Everest. Okay, and I said, someday I want to go up there. And I like to see the beautiful glaciers, okay? And if you can help me to build a drone, allow me to see the glaciers, that will be, fantastic. And they sometimes even drop me a bottle of oxygen, okay? So that is some of the things from that picture. You can see 3 of the 8,000 meter high peaks are all located in the back of the picture. And that is the Mount Everest from the Tibet side. And of course, we only took off from the base, and it was okay. And that are some of the earlier pictures we took. And of course, the first time we went, we had to carry a big helicopter, and we needed to rent a truck to do that. It was very inconvenient. And later on, as DJI developed, we have the Inspire and also the Phantom. This is somewhere in Sichuan province. You see the beautiful glaciers and the beautiful mountains with, the new technology. And I think somewhere in 2008, Frank Wang disappeared, and that was the time that a major earthquake struck Sichuan province. Okay, and he come back 2 weeks late, and I said, "Frank, what did you do?" Then he showed me all the pictures. He said, the drone really helped for the rescue operation. He took lots of photos of pictures because nothing, to assess the damage to the buildings, and also, block the rivers, and that really helped, the rescue operation. So since then, the drones have become, a technology for such kind of operation. This time for Nepal earthquake, we sponsored many drones for the rescue teams in those kind of operations. So another development is that, beginning they just sell the autopilot, and then people do DIY, they buy the autopilot and also the Futuba controller, put a GoPro, that is only limited to a small section of the market. And Frank decided to build all-in-one drone. Okay, you can fly out of the box. So this is the first generation, and this is the second generation with a little camera attached to it. And this is Phantom 2 Vision Plus with gimbals, camera, everything included. You can fly just off the box. And of course, that received lots of media attention and also awards by the Times magazine as one of the top 10 gadgets of the year. And the gimbal technology is not only utilized for the drones, but also for handheld gimbals. Okay, so you no longer need the tracks and all those for shooting Hollywood movies. Okay, so that is a big impact on the movie industry. And also, because most of the camera, you have lots of redundant components. So we have to design and build our own camera so that you minimize the weight and make everything self-enclosed. So those are the various cameras that we developed. Some of them are 4K. And also communication to transmit high-quality video over long distance is an obstacle that we have to overcome, and the light bridge allows the transmission of quality videos over a distance of more than a mile. And also now this is the some of the family members offered by the company. And also recently we decided to open up the system, by initiate the SDK so that people can apply the drones to the various sectors to address a lot of problems in daily life. And those are some of the media review. I will just skip, and I'd like to come down to the variety of applications that are otherwise impossible. And now with the drones, we are able to address those difficult problems. And this is a telecommunication towers. They are located everywhere. And before they have to hire people to climb those ladders, to measure, to inspect, and also possibly do three-dimensional mapping of the environment. And now with the drones, all those tasks, being automated by it become much, much easier. And also aerial photography and the movie appear in entertainment. The Phantom become one of the most covered gadgets, okay, from the robotics community. And this is the inspection of the telecom car I just mentioned, and also 3D mapping, okay. And once you fly the Inspire over any place, with software such as the Everest by one of the HKUST CS colleague, or by the Pixel 4D, you can immediately construct the 3D map, okay. And this one is about 2 centimeters per pixel, okay, up to that level of resolution. And also inspection of solar panels, dams, buildings, and the bridges, okay. And also for firefighting, and the pipeline, gas line, power line, and some company even use the drone to read the gas meters, because if the servicemen come to knock on your door, most of the often the doors are shut. So you can fly in a drone to read the meter without interfering, the owner of the apartment. And so those are, the kind of visible light cameras. You can also attach infrared camera or near-infrared camera. And using the multi-spectrum response, for agriculture, you can, monitor the stress, the water level, the nutrition, or even predict the growth of the, agriculture. So you are, based on that information, you can completely change the way agriculture is being conducted. And, applying that to all kinds of, crops and also fruits. And here are some photos given to us by Vijay Kumar using, to monitor the orange and predict the growth of orange apple trees and all those. And also with the thermal sensor, in the wavelength of 1 micrometer or above, you can, just, border security in the night and also, see the driving car very, very far away, okay? So, people talk about delivery. It's, a major applications, okay? But before we see that happens, actually in China, a very popular event took place. And this is a very famous actress called Zhang Ziyi, okay? And she had a couple of boyfriends, okay? And the boyfriend who succeeded in making proposal to her and accepted by her is the one who delivered a diamond jewels to her using a drone. And that was hard to refuse. And he said, I agree. Okay. And the DJI actually grew over the last 5 years in terms of revenue 700 times, okay? And that is a phenomenon for a hardware company. And for internet, this kind of things you are able to see, but for a hardware company, startup hardware company, that is, pretty rare. So I like to, after that DJI story, now what, we benefited from research in the community, and now, how we're going to give back, return back to the community. So this is Frank Wang, and we thought that, more students are probably interested in startups. So we established a clear water-based startup club to share with our experience and try to provide the infrastructure so that, more startups, they can benefit from our experience. And also DJI sponsored the RoboCon competition and also organized a RoboMaster competition because we felt just like the first, the DARPA Grand Challenge, it produced brilliant engineers, okay, in all kinds of different domains. And this year, there are more than 200 teams from China participating in the RoboMaster competition. And they also, looking back, how DJI and also other companies from my lab, okay, we really benefited from the manufacturing ecosystem in this area, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and Dongguan. So one time that Vijay come to this place, and he said, Zexiang, this place is called the Hollywood of makers because there are hundreds, thousands of shops, factories, everything. They can help you to design any ideas, you have, turn into design. They can help you to, design the molds, build the prototypes, and they also small batch or large batch manufacture. And before this area serves, companies like HP, Apple, Samsung, but I think this area, this region would be a tremendous asset for startups, especially in robotics, okay, can benefit from that. So we like to put together all the mistakes, all the lessons we learned, because we also had bad vendors, good vendors, but we like to sort them out and also, carefully filter out the system. So establish a robotics startup center. And that center can be available, not just students from China, from Hong Kong, but teams from the whole robotics community. Okay. So that is the concept. We can provide all those components, okay, that DJI, Google Tag, QKM, and our suppliers, so that you don't have to spend a year or more to refine a component. You can just focus on the final product design. And then we provide the supply chains after careful selection, okay, so that you will not repeat the same mistakes. And also we establish angel funds with the Sequoia, Hill House, and also our own. And so any team, whether they have a company, doesn't matter. They can come to the institute, spend 3 to 6 months, refine their team, refine their prototype. And once they are ready, they can move into the incubation center, and then all kinds of robotic products listed or they conceived. So, and also the university do see the model of this small lab perhaps is a good thing for the university and also for the area. So we establish a robotics institute with entrepreneurship in mind, so that we design our program to incorporate the teaching, research, and the entrepreneurship in the beginning. You don't just, you do the teaching or you do the research and then find out you have to change the direction in order to commercialize your results. Okay, this way you can save lots of, the effort and the resource. And of course, advertisement. Okay, we are looking for, ambitious assistant professors, postdocs for the new Robotics Institute. So to conclude, that, after, have a few sentences, the Rumba, the Da Vinci, the Phantom were among, a few most noted robotic gadgets that have had tremendous impact on the society, and more to come. And the research of the robotics community is a cornerstone to the earlier success of the DJI. Okay, it is not an isolated case. Innovation, entrepreneurship, and the manufacturing ecosystem in the Hong Kong, Shenzhen, or Guangdong region, we do believe provides a fertile land for more examples like DJI. And this startup facility aims to facilitate transforming innovation into products for startup teams from the whole community. So I have a video to show you. The sound.
What attracted us to DJI originally was how they were really establishing an entirely new category, not in just drones or UAVs, but in robotics in general.
Okay, by the way, we established a Sky Fund with Excel
the way in which they're starting to
fund
build
a startup project.
This is really an opportunity to build a
UAV
platform
or
company, not
robotics.
unlike Facebook or Google or Amazon. And part of that is because this idea of a flying vehicle that enables you to have a sensor in the sky and capture all kinds of intelligence and data, video in places and times that weren't accessible before. It's a very powerful concept, and we think that today, while there are products like Phantom and Inspire, tomorrow we can only envision, and maybe not even today imagine, the kinds of applications and services that can be built on this platform.
I think what really excited us about DJI is just the diversity of use cases that they find themselves pulled into today. So the Phantom is this consumer device which has completely captured the imagination, but at the same time they're being pulled into agriculture, the fire departments use them, industrial inspection, mining, the use cases are really endless.
I received a call from the chief of the department. He told me that there was a large blaze at the stone quarry in Brantford, He explained that the blaze was in close proximity to explosives and that there was no way for a human being to safely check and see how close the flames were to the containers, the magazines of explosives. Well, using his experience and expertise, the chief was able to see on my screen that the fire was still, I believe, about 30 to 40 feet away from the magazines of explosives, so that it was then safe to send in the human being firefighters to put the blaze out.
This is a very difficult sport because if you stand on the track, you can only see the sled for half a second, and then it's gone. With the drones, it gives an amazing shot of the track. In the past, we've had to do these shots with helicopters, and this is a much more user-friendly way of getting that video out there.
My name is Dick Wolf. I'm the creator and executive producer of the Law & Order shows and now Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. 12 years ago, we made a show for 2 seasons called Dragnet. We had one of the first true handheld drones, which was a $300,000 helicopter. What is capable now with just an Inspire 1 is so far in excess of what that helicopter could do. It's an entirely different world.
We want to make it easier for people to be innovative with the technology we design. That's why we created SkyFund.
So the Sky Fund is our opportunity to go out and fund entrepreneurs who are building applications on top of the infrastructure that DJI has put into place.
Using industry-leading visionaries on our advisory board, SkyFund will choose hardware and software teams whose projects open the skies to innovation and push forward the potential for what aerial technology can be.
Developers not only have access to the documentation and the SDK, they have access to the folks behind the SDK. So much of what we're doing here at the Sky Fund is not just providing the capital, but we're providing the technical know-how and the resources to help any entrepreneur really take advantage of what the SDK can provide. We think there's a huge opportunity to unlock the application layer innovation in drones and UAVs. But it's going to take a little bit of capital to get folks started. And that's what we, along with DJI, really want to help to provide.
Okay, so I think with that, I will finish my talk. Thank you.
I think we sort of ran out of time, but we might have a little, maybe a couple minutes for a quick question. Any question? Okay. If not, let's thank Professor Zexiang. Oh, wait, one. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So you said the SDK is exposed, right? So is it, what level is it exposed? Do we have complete control of the underlying thing so that we can change like the firmware, or is it like for the DJI platform? Because I'm very interested in the platform. So at what level are you exposing? Are you looking at like exposing at multiple levels? Because if it is just software, then somebody, if they want to tinker with hardware, it might be harder, right? So like, are you planning on going further and kind of making it more and more open, right down to the hardware level?
Yeah, I think right now we have, on the Phantom, Inspire, and also in a new product, M100. Okay, so SDK will be good for it. And also we are increasingly making that, increase the openness of the software, so allow you to do a lot more. And the details are in those brochures so that if you want, and also talk to our people here.
Okay, great. Thank you. And again, there are brochures up front for those of you who are interested. Thanks again.